Good morning and welcome to another discussion on the brain drain problem at IIT Bombay and generally broadly in India. So, Professor Puniyani, you've been a professor at IIT Bombay for about for 30 years or
20 years.
20 years in the bioengineering program, biomedical engineering program, which you yourself founded. Recently there has been some noise about the amount of funding that goes into an IIT, and that compared with the number of IITians the government or the Indian industry can absorb. I mean, the gripe is that most of these people graduate with a huge amount of government support, and they just go work for a foreign company, maybe American or Japanese or German, because they claim either it's more lucrative or they have better opportunities.
Yeah.
So, what would you say about this problem?
Yeah, first let me correct you that in IIT I was not the only founder of biomedical engineering department. I was one amongst them. Anyway, as for your question about brain drain, which is broadly called, this issue of brain drain came in India because India started producing very good manpower in science, technology, and partly in some other disciplines. Now we have to look at it from a global angle. That globally, like in India, was one of the pioneers amongst the newly developing countries, which gave a lot of emphasis to science education, to technology education. It was in pursuance of that Pandit Nehru founded concept of IITs, which I think is one of the most unique concepts, which again I would like to add here, is one of the major contributors to the industrial and scientific development in Indian society. That is number one.
No, but that is precisely the complaint, right?
Correct.
These are not contributing sufficiently to our local industry.
As far as now, that having said that, I will come to this, that the manpower which comes out finds that number one, the salaries outside are very lucrative. Number two, after having come so far, the type of environment and the type of facilities and the other things which they need for further pursuance of their professional life may not be so much available here. That's why they try to go abroad. That is number one. Number two, like in India, I think the manpower production is much more than what can be absorbed here. Like you will never find that government jobs are vacant because of the shortage of manpower at the top, or industrial jobs are vacant because of the shortage of manpower. So having said that, one has to realize that in a developing global economy, this is partly a natural phenomenon. Now, of course, it is true that India spends so much money to train them, and what does India get out of that? So that point can be compensated by undertaking a bond from the candidates who go abroad, that if they don't work in India, a particular amount of money they will give to the government. That is the only possibility. Otherwise, in a free global economy, scientific temper, environment, these things are bound to happen. So we should not look at it negatively. We should look at it in a way how like we should continue to excel in production of that manpower, and if we can't absorb all of them, or if some of them want to go abroad, it's fine so far as they compensate the government or the training institute a particular amount of money.
No, but the government will say that, if we do that, it's only going to make our institute look like a dukan. I mean, where you pay money to get a qualification and then make a lot more money by selling yourself to a foreign company or a foreign research lab. So, I mean, what do you think? I mean, Jawaharlal Nehru founded these institutes to spur technical innovation, for economic development of the country. But if that purpose is not satisfied, what is the point of having an IIT?
No, there are 2 points you have raised. One is that whether what Pandit Nehru dreamed has succeeded or not. I must say, today India is one of the major global powers only because of the vision of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who went in for such deep level of scientific temper and development. Having said that, let's see that these institutes have remained centers of excellence. So in that sense, they have not compromised, and the national development has not been retarded because of some people going abroad. As far as you are saying that why we should become a Dukan, on the other side I will say why we should not be providers for intellectual manpower to the world. Not only that, why we already are inviting young scholars from the neighboring countries, from the other countries, who pay, get educated, go back to their countries, and they contribute to the development of their own countries. So what is the problem in that? Actually, so far as we can keep a particular standard, so far as the government does not pay, invest too much in that, and those people who are getting education provide for that in future also, so that should be okay for us.
Okay, and what about, for example, a related problem, which is not IITians leaving the country, but working within the country for a non-technological firm? I mean, for non-technological organization broadly. I mean, what if somebody decides to, just become a marketing executive or an advertising executive, or becomes a product designer, or just takes up his father's business as a general manager? What do you think in that case? I mean, how should we think about it? I mean, that we trained all these people to help the country using their technological skills, and all they're doing is using their general knowledge, general intelligence to run a company or to sell products.
Now, in our society, country, world, there is one major problem, that children are not able to pursue what they like. Sometimes they have to pursue what circumstances dictate them, what parental pressures dictate them. So as the Three Idiot film outlines it very beautifully, that people go for that because of multiple pressures, but when they come on their own, they realize a particular thing which they have to pursue. So I think there's a contradiction between the individual choices, needs of society, needs of the nation. These three things have a complex interplay of factors. In that sense, I think if our overall production of scholars is very high, there is no harm. I mean, if some people later on go to pursue things which may not be exactly...
No, but the government is spending so much public money, taxpayers' money on their education.
No, for that I will say that government can make a mechanism whereby all those who are not, I mean, if the government needs, and if these people are not able to work there, then they compensate for that. That mechanism can be devised. Second thing, you see, if we set up an institute, now it becomes a sort of an autonomous mechanism in which there is definitely some overproduction than the needs of the society. So, like those people who are going into non-technological, non-science field as defined by IITs and this thing, probably they can compensate for that a bit. But that I think also should be very optional mechanism.
Okay, so on another, on the same coda, or a different track, what do you think about the way we, the major or the specialization of a student, at IIT? I mean, we produce, for example, 10 or 12 aerospace engineers at IIT Bombay every year, but only 2 of them manage to get, say, into a government organization. Another 2 or 3 manage to get something abroad, and then everybody else has to change their line. And aerospace is an extremely good department, very good faculty, very good research, and it's a very high-end engineering discipline. And if you see, India doesn't have its own commercial aircraft. We don't have an indigenous turbofan company. I mean, and we basically have to import everything, and the only thing we have is just manufacturing those Russian war planes. So I mean, similarly, chemical engineers again say that there are not sufficiently many opportunities in India. So what about that problem, that many of these people actually do want to pay back the country by using their high-end technological skills, but the opportunities simply do not exist. In which case, again, why are you putting so much of taxpayers' money into producing these people?
Now again, see, for example, if you have to run aeronautic departments, you need only 2 scholars for your national needs. But you cannot run a course for 2 people. So you will have to run a course where the lower critical mass is there. So for that it is produced, and that's fine. I mean, if small problems in such a big system are not going to harm the overall larger goals of the country, like if aeronautics is producing 15 students, and we require only 2, but we do require for those 2. For 2 people we have to run a course, and running a course for 2 students or for 15 students costs practically the same. So
no, okay. In that case, why not? Don't these institutes have a sort of a transition program, a sort of a diploma or a master's program, so that people who are trained as aerospace engineers, or chemical engineers, or physicists, or chemists, can transition into something that local industry does need, and perhaps even globally would perhaps not hurt them. I mean, for example, let's say that there was a huge demand for software engineers, or multimedia, signal processing, communications engineers. And wouldn't it make sense to train an aerospace engineer who's already who's very good at most of the required things, to just take incubate in that environment where everybody's taking computer science or electrical engineering courses and discussing Google and Yahoo, and the whole. It's not just the education that you impart, but the environment in which you grow, the subculture that grows around a profession. So wouldn't it make sense to have such master's programs to allow people to transition?
Actually, I will not take this as a question from you. I will take this as an excellent suggestion which IITs should take up and implement. I mean, there is no controversy in what you are saying. This is precisely the need of the time, and any dynamic system should be flexible enough to adopt such suggestions which keep pace with the demands of the time.
Yeah, but I mean, things in this country take a long time to crystallize. So, has anybody made this suggestion?
See, I am out of the IIT system from last 10 years, so I will not be very much aware of that. But I think there can be mechanisms through which such suggestions should go to the IIT Council, IIT Board of Directors, and they should be implemented in due course of time if they are not already being thought of, or if they are not already being implemented in that case.
And what about like financial engineering? Do you think IITs should broaden their definition of engineering and technology to include novel economic, finance products? What do you think?
And let me tell you one thing, that IITs have always been very dynamic in that sense already. Like humanities departments of IITs have created very brilliant contributions to different fields. So I think there is nothing anathema about it. Bringing in finance, bringing in even medical sciences, for example, where I was working, biomedical engineering itself was a novel thing, and for physicians to be working in such a system was a novel thing. So IIT is open to that, but I think somebody has to take initiative within the system so that such things start beginning. But I think again this is a very good suggestion which IIT councils should register and try to see the realizability of such proposals.
Thank you.